How you doing? This is Coach DeCarlo. Many of you have inquired, what is Open and Quicken? Now, open, of course, most people know when you're opening a door, you're giving access to. But quickening is somewhat different. When you're talking about quickening, what you're talking about is making alive. Now, you say, well, how does this have anything to do with manifestation? Well, let me explain. But let me start off with a quote by Neville Goddard, because I think that the quote will take us in the right direction. You know, Neville says, take on the nature of health, and health will take on the tones of flesh. Find the feeling of wealth, and you have caught its nature. Now, you're saying, DeCarlo, what does that mean? Well, when you take on the attitude, the nature of health, health will take on the tone of flesh. It will begin to reproduce itself in your body. So if you're seeking healing, for example, begin to take on the attitude, the disposition of healing. And of course, what's going to happen is healing is going to begin to be manifested in your body. Then he goes on to say, find the feeling of wealth, and you have caught its nature. When you understand that it's not doing, but being wealthy that attracts wealth. Now, of course, because you're being wealthy, because you're acting from a mindset of wealth, you tend to practice wealthy habits. But when you're operating from a poverty mindset, when you find yourself feeling impoverished, then you've caught that nature. And so the only thing you can do is reproduce impoverishment. But let me give you an example of taking on the nature of health. A few weeks back, my stepson had come home and he was sick. And he kind of dealt with this sickness for a couple of days and didn't give much thought, because in my mind's eye, I say, I normally catch a cold 24 hours and then it's gone. But that wasn't always my belief system. But I had to open my mind to a new concept and quicken and lock in that new concept. So the concept, the old one was, if I catch a cold, it normally lasts for about 7 days. But because I began practicing different habits, I know now that if I catch a cold, I normally can get rid of it in 24 hours. Or I should say even the cold symptoms. I can get rid of them in 24 hours. He was walking around for, a couple of days, with these cold symptoms. And like I said, I didn't give it much place. But he purchased a pizza one day, and he inquired with the wife and I, were we interested in having any pizza? At the time, we had just finished eating, so of course, I really wasn't interested in pizza at the moment. But later on that evening, I kind of got hungry, and I went downstairs to do something else and noticed the pizza, and of course, the pizza caught my eye, so I got some pizza. What I tried to do was get a slice from the center as opposed from the ends, because I knew he had been handling the pizza, and I knew that he had these cold symptoms for the last couple of days. So I went on and ate the pizza, didn't give it much thought, but about 6 to 8 hours later, I noticed that I started getting that scratchy throat, and I said, okay, this is the beginning of cold symptoms. Now, of course, I probably shouldn't have claimed that, but I did. And so in claiming that, I begun to get into the process of getting rid of cold symptoms. And so what I ended up doing was kind of going through my regiment, and I went to bed that evening after going through my regiment. Well, I woke up early in the morning, and I had this cold sweat that had come over me. But the other thing that I noticed was that the cold symptoms were completely gone. So what does that mean to you, creators? That you can change your paradigm by simply changing old concepts and beliefs. My belief was that I normally kept a cold for 7 days. I changed that and said, I normally keep a cold less than 24 hours. My body acquiesced and began to operate based off of my new concepts. So when we're talking about opening and quickening, it's about taking on a new concept, a new ideal, a new belief system, and owning it. You open your mind to the new ideal, the new concept, then you lock it in. That's quickening. And it becomes your own. And as you begin walking in that new concept, what you're going to do is see the benefits in your life. This is Coach DeCarlo saying have a great and abundant day.